very interesting day I've had. Wow. So let me just reiterate what I put out in a statement today. Under no circumstances whatsoever will I be attending the police station without being arrested. So I had quite a few comments, people advising me, but oh, I've got to do that. But let me assure you, there is no part of me that is remotely tempted to go along and participate in my own demise. I think that's what we say. So anyway, back to the beginning. How the devil are you? This is TERF Talk Tuesday. You will see a range of numbers underneath the screen. I'm just going to share this with you. So this is the hoodie and bottoms. This is mine. So this is a prototype. So the woman that we're going to sell is actually going to not be across the seam. So it's going to be down this bit of the leg here. Still on the side. But this is, we're going to bring this out. It will be up on the website by tomorrow morning. You will be able to pre-order. You will have to pre-order damn quick if you want it for Christmas. And I'm telling you now, it's not going to be cheap because these are really high-end, high-quality, just amazing items. And that's about all the selling I'm going to do this evening because, you know, who is allowed to make any exchange with you where instead of just activism, instead of donations, we say, hey, why don't you join in with us? I think this is the best form of fundraising known to man. It means you get something, I get something, and together we make a movement. Isn't that amazing? So you will see, you lucky people down in New Zealand and Australia and Canada. We now have, let me just put that up because yeah, we now have local free phone numbers for you. So let me tell you what they are, and then I'm going to open the phone lines. This is going to be great. If you are a critic of mine, you are welcome to call. I will not mute you. I'm not James O'Brien. If there is any other comment you want to make, you are. This is the place to make it. This is like Let Women Speak, but it's on through your telephone, so you don't have to leave your house, pay for parking, pay for travel. You just get to say whatever you want to our amazing people all over the world. Right. So if you're in the United States of America and you would like to make a toll-free call, see, multilingual here. It's 0877 729 1771. That's 0877 729 1771. In the UK, your free phone number is 0800 058 4204. In Canada, your free phone number is 888 35 6088. That's all the eights. So it's 8888 35 6088. In Australia, your free phone number is 1800 959 819. I'm so damn excited. In New Zealand, your free phone number is 800 441 607. And the rest of the world, wherever you may be, and I'm sorry if your country has not come up, but it is country code 44204 515 2251. Are you ready? I'm going to open the phone lines. You are going to call. I'm going to try and remember how I used to do this. And, you know, like everything I do, it will be highly technically skilled, professional, wonderful. And let's just have the time of our lives. So if you want to ring, let me just assure you, when you call, you're a little bit behind. So if I answer the phone and you think I'm still talking to someone else, I may answer the phone when you call because I may have ended that call. So I just thought I'd let you know. So we are ready. I am ready. Yeah, I just want to reiterate. I did a video not that long ago, actually, when somebody else was interviewed under caution and arrested. And I gave a very brief idea about what I would advise. And my advice always, if the police contact you, the first thing you must do is call a solicitor and get actual legal advice. Okay. So that would be the first thing I would suggest you do. But beyond that, I am more than happy that my advice is correct. You never say a damn thing to the police. You never make it easy. You really, really don't. You don't say a damn thing to the police. You don't allow them any access to tripping you up. The police are very interested in making a really, really easy little crime stat for them, because nothing is more important than crime stats except when it comes to crimes against women. So that's where we are. So your free phone numbers are going across the screen. I'm ever so nervous that I haven't even done it properly, so I might even ring myself, which would be crazy. But I live by the sword, die by the sword. Let me see. Oh, 0877. Oh, this is the United States of America. Let's not do that. So 0204 515. Can you imagine if it doesn't work? Oh, great. My own phone doesn't work, because that's why I've got such crappy Wi-Fi. Oh, no. Do I just press 0? Yeah. Okay. So you have to press 0. You have to press 0. So when you get through, you have to press 0, because I'm an idiot. Okay. So we've got the police. That was today. I think I've just... Yeah, no, I'm still on the phone to myself, which means I'm engaged. Anyway, hi, how are you? Isn't this great? So happy with myself. See, Ali Snyder, you could ring me because I've got a free phone number. It is. If you're calling for the United States of America, it's 0877 729 1771. When you get through, you need to press 0. Don't ask me. It's been a long day. I was up until very late chatting. But I've been reading quite a lot of the things about I wasn't arrested. They want to arrest me. They will be arresting me because I'm not going to go quietly. That's basically what's going to happen. So, who knows? Right. Now that I've totally messed up the phone lines, let me give you the numbers again. If you're in the United States of America, it's 0877 72. There we go. Hello, good evening. You are through to Kellie-Jay. This is TERF Talk Tuesday. How can I help?
Hey, Kelly. This is Judy C. I'm calling from California.
Hi, Judy C.
Hi. It was so great meeting you, and I love you, and you're awesome, and you're the queen. But besides that, so I just read yesterday that San Francisco, the city and the county, are looking for their first drag queen laureates.
Oh my God.
It's an 18-month position. It's a $50,000 position for 18 months, I guess, to curate books. I don't know. And I have no idea.
Oh, that's so gross. And so
Yeah.
is it for what's the rationale? Does it say?
Well, they also are giving away a monthly stipend for 18 months, a $1,200 monthly stipend to 50 different trans people. They put that initiative out too for San Francisco, and it's all taxpayer funded.
Can you not identify as trans and take some of that cash?
You can. So we have a couple friends that live in San Francisco that are actually applying for it, because there's 97 different genders. If you look at the 97 different genders, I mean, it's so offensive. I mean, faggot is actually listed as a gender. Dyke is listed as a gender. Tomboy is listed as a gender. Gender fuck is one. It's insane.
God. Oh my God.
It's insane.
I mean, I think I'd identify as that, to be honest. If I had to write an official gender on a form, I would go for that one. I would go for that one.
Yeah, I know. I know, but that happened like a week ago, and then this drag queen laureate thing came out. I mean, they are just doubling down.
And who is this? Who is doing it? When you is
The
it
mayor, the mayor, San Francisco. It's the city that's doing it.
what do you think is behind it? Do you think there's loads of back pocket kind of backroom dealing money stuff?
Well, did you see that I don't know how to say it, that Balenciaga campaign with the little girls holding the BDSM teddy
Yes.
bears?
Yes.
Okay. Well, when I saw that, I mean, and then I looked at some of their other campaigns and the way what their models look like. They look like they're like walking dead people. Like seriously, go and look at some of their campaign ads. I mean, it's just I don't know. Like, I mean, you said it before, and I've heard other people say it before. I mean, it's insidious. It's nefarious. It's something that the boundaries are being pushed, and there's something underneath it that and I hate using this word because I'm not a religious person, but it's like evil. You know,
Yes.
it's like it really is, and it's like just the 97 gender things is just so insane.
Do you think
Because
it's sorry, go on. I'm interrupting completely.
no, no, no,
You carry
no.
on.
I don't know what it is. I think it's real evil.
Well, I'm right. So I'm not saying that if you are a gamer, you are likely to have bizarre dystopian thoughts about human beings and the human race. But I'm wondering if loads of people who have spent absolutely shed loads of time on games all then end up in the same industry or same place running stuff. I do wonder if some of this disconnect has got to do with living a virtual life. It's the
Oh,
first time I
absolutely.
thought of it, so it's not coherent, but I just wonder.
Oh, I absolutely agree, totally. I mean, because if you're online all the time and you're just like, they have like skins or whatever, and like
Mm,
different avatars, and you don't have an actual friend group outside of it. I mean, I guess if your brain is developing during that time and you're making all those neural connections in your brain, it would rewire your brain. So we're dealing with a whole generation of kids that have a different kind of brain,
mm.
I would imagine.
Well, I couldn't go in this. I still find it difficult to go in the sea if it's deep. Um, if I put my hand in, if I put my hand in the water and then it turns the water white because I'm swimming or whatever, all I can hear is the music from Jaws because I'm the generation where just watching that film just once had an impact on me for the remainder of my life. That music, so
Hmm.
I don't know why gaming wouldn't have some sort of other permanent imprint on the brains of people that do it a lot.
Oh, it must. It has to.
Well, let's just ban the internet. That's about the only thing
Yeah, no kidding.
at this point we can do. Gosh, I
Oh
can't even
God,
stop my
I don't
kids
know.
going on it. I'm terrible. But thank you so much for calling. It was really lovely to meet you.
It was so great to meet you. I love you. Keep doing what you're doing. You have given us so much power. I think coming to the U.S., you like lit a fire under the U.S. women, and I thank you for that. So,
Oh, you're so welcome. It's very kind of you to say. And I hopefully
okay.
will see you again.
Yes. Okay.
Cheers.
Bye bye.
Bye. Oh, how mad is that? How mad is that? A drag what is it with drag queens? It's so just mad. Okay, so you can call me again. I will read out the numbers. They're floating along the bottom of your screen. Yeah, do like, share, and subscribe. So these hoodies with matching, I think we can only get them in black, but I will double check. But you will be able to get this in either crystal, clear crystal like this, which kind of looks silver, but I've got my old phone. Can you see? So there's this one, and then there's also gold that you could choose. So It's the best thing ever in the world, ever. Right. So if you're in the United States of America, you can call me on 0877 729 1771. If you're in the United Kingdom, you can call me on 0800 058 4204. Canada, it's 8888 356088. Australia, 1800 959 891. New Zealand, it is 0800, it's 800, sorry, 441 607. And for the rest of the world, it's plus 44 204 515 2251. When you get through, you have to go through a menu. Just press 0 and then you'll be able to get there. I need more KJK merch. I'm going to try and get more out to the American store for you guys in America, because I know that it's painfully slow for items to reach you across the ocean. Look, the phone line is free. You should ring. This is the place that you may speak. Tampax have gone mad. Boycott Tampax, says Francis. I have no idea what that is. Well, I do know what Tampax is. Obviously, I'm 48. Okay. Good evening. This is Kellie-Jay. You're through to Turf Talk Tuesday. You can say who you are. You don't have to. What would you like to say?
Hiya. I've been watching you for a while now, so it's great to finally talk to you.
Good evening.
I go by Rose on the internet because I'm scared of getting doxxed by people.
Okay.
I just had a debate yesterday with someone, and they told me that obviously I said a woman is an adult human female, and all the facts. And he told me that by getting surgeries, males change their biology to become a woman, and I was basically told to get off TERF Island, which I found really funny because I feel like it's just so weird how men can genuinely believe these things when they have no experience of being a woman.
And what do you think? So, was the person you were talking to, did they pretend to be a woman, or?
No, they were advocating for other trans-identified people.
And what do you think's behind it? Like when a man talks like that to you, what are you just too aghast to even make any rational judgment on that, or what's your gut feeling tell you? Is he lying?
Well, yeah, part of me was I just couldn't believe it. I thought I really said I said surely you know this is wrong. Surely you understand that. But he seemed very adamant, and like I go to university right now, and like all universities are quite woke. And sometimes you hear these people, and I genuinely don't understand whether they actually believe it or they're too scared to say something.
Is there a little bit of you that wonders whether actually many men have just thought women are men without penises all along?
Sorry?
Do you think that some men have
Mm-hmm.
always thought that women are just like lesser men and without penises? Like, do you? Because I sometimes think that I didn't realize just how little men thought of us until they all pretend that they think that men can be us, and it's just so damn demeaning. Did you, before this issue, did you know how little some men regarded women?
No, I genuinely thought that we were past this, that, we recognized our differences, obviously biologically, but I didn't think that they would go so far as to say something like that. It feels like, I don't know.
Are you alone at uni, or are there quite a lot of people that understand that women don't have penises?
Well, I would say that I would be one of the few, because whenever I see anything in the line of, biology, I always refer to sex as sex, not as gender, because there's a lot of gender talk, and I always make sure to say, no, we have sex segregated spaces for a reason. And yeah, a lot of people look at you in a very weird way. And I mean, there's a communist society in my university, so I would say yes, I am one of the few.
And how does that? If you don't mind me asking, are you the right age to be at university, or are you older?
Oh no, I'm nearly 24, so
Right. Okay. Okay. So you're still really, really young, and it must be pretty difficult because it's like social suicide to say that you know what a man is and what a woman is.
yes. I mean, we're gonna have a discussion tomorrow actually about feminism and post-feminism and all that, and I feel like I would never not say something because of being scared. Because of course, I feel like if I'm gonna say the truth, whether people like it or not.
Good
But
for you.
yeah, I mean, people genuinely like. Let me give you an example. We were analyzing a poem, and it was written by someone whose name was very obviously male, and one of my friends was discussing it, and she said he, and my my tutor just like really butted in really quickly, and he was like, no, it's a they, they're non-binary. And I was just like, how is
God.
we meant to know? Like, it's just
It's horrendous, but I promise you, I mean, in this country, in other countries, I think it's super horrendous. In this country, I think we are seeing the beginning of the end. I really, whilst it's really crap to live through, I promise you, I think we are seeing the beginning of the end, because more and more people are going, actually, I'm just not going to be quiet, and they
oh yeah,
can't
so
arrest us all.
yeah, no, for sure. I've bought some stickers actually to put around in the uni because our student union bar, the toilets are mixed.
Oh,
So if I want to go to the bathroom whilst I'm in the student union bar, I go to the library because they're segregated. And you know, there's a sign saying, "Oh, if we find two people in a cubicle, you'll be kicked out." But it's like, well, that will be too late.
wow. I'm so sorry, but thank you so much for calling in.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you. Thank
Bye-bye.
you so much.
Hello, good evening. This is TERF Talk Tuesday. You are through to Kellie-Jay. You can say who you are. You absolutely don't have to. What would you like to say? I've just lost you. Well, there you go. That was great. That was somebody from the US. So if that was you, you can call again. But you'll take about 5 minutes to hear me, because this is. Oh, and I just accidentally cut off the very last bit of that very lovely caller. So this is going. I think this is going great. And doing really, really well. Let me remind you of the numbers, because we now have like a 5-minute delay where everybody thinks I'm still talking to someone. So it's US 0877 729 1771, UK 0800 058 4204. Freephone for Canada is 8888 356088. Australia free phone is 1800 959 819. New Zealand is 800 441 607. The rest of the world is country code 44 204 515 2251. There are all your free phone and otherwise numbers. I'm going to read some things from the chat. Band United, who can I talk to about my order? Right, Rose, you have to email the shop. That is who you email. I don't know where you are, but the Band United is a wonderful, amazing moderator. She doesn't deal with things at the shop. Good evening, good morning. Sorry, this is Kellie-Jay. You are through to TERF Talk Tuesday. Who are you? If you fancy saying it, what would you like to say?
Hello, young Kellie-Jay. This is Chris from New Zealand.
Hello, Chris from New
Otherwise
Zealand.
known as, we're hoping to see you. Hey, listen, I just wanted to tell you something that's been happening. I've had to switch you off. I didn't think I'd get through so quickly. The Bank of New Zealand here has made all the women's toilets gender neutral, but the men still have theirs. I have a friend who works there, and all the women have gone on a meltdown. Currently, I'm trying to get some evidence. I'm going to start causing trouble. And the other story that I heard recently, and I don't know how true it is, you may have been aware we've had the Rugby Women's World Cup here.
Yeah.
A friend of mine who seems to know what she's saying reckons that we spent $5 million doing up Eden Park, and they did the same thing there, and the women's toilets have been made gender neutral. Now, I haven't got the evidence of that yet, but it seems to be starting, and I think it's time to start smacking back.
I agree with you. And obviously, I wouldn't advocate violence, because that would be the most terrible thing I could possibly do for women facing threats of violence, to tell you to defend yourselves. But what I would say is, yes, metaphorically, I think annihilate is a fair word. But yes, I think you need to smack back. What is it that you are, what sort of thing do you think is going to wake up New Zealanders?
Well, I think what we're going to have to do is really, I don't think most people realise this. I only found this out by accident, because a good friend of mine who works for BNZ was talking to another good friend of mine and told her what had happened. We had no idea. And I think we have to embarrass them, really embarrass them, by protesting and exposing it, because most people don't know this is happening. I come from a rugby family. And I've spoken to a number of my cousins who are still into rugby, and they were absolutely shocked when I told them. They couldn't believe it. Gosh. So I think the problem is most people don't know, and we have to advertise it. We actually have to expose it.
And do you think, I think mass sort of acts of disobedience and protest at the rugby and at the rugby grounds is always a good way to go. Are there people brave enough?
Yes. Oh, I don't know about that, because the rugby's sort of not happening at the moment, but possibly. But the other thing that I think probably we could have mass protests outside the banks who are doing this as well, and things like that. So, but I've only just found out in the last 2 weeks. I hadn't known about that before that, so I was quite shocked.
And you're actually engaged in this issue, and you didn't know?
Well, I'm going to engage in it, because it's a health issue for women who work in banks when that happens, because the friend concerned said, I thought I was inclusive and kind until it happened, and then she said, it's a meltdown completely, because she said, I don't want to use the toilet when men have been in there. Don't feel safe.
I mean, let's say that they start quoting you statistics about safety. Men don't even smell very nice. Men don't seem to have the same very light kind of breeziness about toilets that women do. And I'm not saying they all urinate on the floor, but even if they don't, I've got dogs. I'm telling you, if my boy dog wheezes in the kitchen and my girl dog wheezes in the kitchen, I'm telling you, I know which is which, right? And that's because we're mammals. But yeah, just generally speaking, men are stinky. I don't want them I certainly don't want them urinating anywhere on the floor or the toilet seat. And we know that, I don't know, say 5 out of 10 men don't care where their urine ends up. Oh, gosh.
Well, you're right. But the other thing is, I mean, I've known in the past of young women who've had, problems with their periods, and they've had to go and clean themselves up.
Yeah.
And they can't do that if men are in there.
No, they can't. It's just revolting.
So it's just not acceptable. But anyway, hope you're coming down here soon,
I absolutely am.
You go to Australia, you've got to come down.
I am.
I've got to New Zealand.
I'm going to do a poll to see. I might just, I might do 2 dates in New Zealand. So I know that, so I would just do maybe 2 cities in New Zealand and maybe 4 in Australia. And I'm going to poll all the people that engage with me from New Zealand to find out where are the best places for me to go. But absolutely, it'd be ridiculous if I hate flying, although not so much anymore, because I took some really early morning flights and I couldn't drink, so I had to just grin and bear it. But
I did follow you on your American trip a bit when I could. But Auckland is the biggest city, and of course Wellington is the city of the government. But
well, let's do those then. Because I couldn't possibly come all the way over the other side of the world and not come to New Zealand, even if just to insult people doing the accent continuously. So it would be lovely.
That's all right, we can take it.
Well, I'm sure you can. Thank you so much.
You've
for
heard
calling.
the Australian version of fish and chips, and the New Zealand version is fish and chops.
I love fish and chops. I've got a friend from New Zealand, and she said she was like, oh, I've put some chooks in the oven. She never said chicken. It's always chooks, a couple of chooks.
That's
But
right.
yeah, I absolutely can't wait. And 25 hours on a plane is going to be worth every second I spend. Because let's just bring them all out. Let's entice these nasty, vile misogynists into the public eye. That's what
Well,
we
the
do.
other thing is, if you come out here, I'm sure we can get you accommodation.
That sounds great. I might have to bring a little documentary filmmaker with me, so that
I'm sure we can sort that out.
Yeah, amazing. Well, love to you.
But yeah. Well, you keep on going with what you're doing. I've reconstituted a few songs that are, surf and safari, because I am a surfer and have been a surfer all my life, and so I rewrote that for you when you're in America.
Well, thanks. I will look it up. I've got an okay voice. Perhaps I'll just sing it.
Well, it's pretty easy and it's good for crowds as well.
Well, let's do it then. Okay, thank you so much for your call.
Thanks.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
Bye, Kelly.
Hello, good evening, good afternoon even. This is TERF Talk Tuesday. You are through to Kellie-Jay. You can say who you are. You don't have to. But what would you like to say?
Hi, Kellie-Jay. First of all, I just want to say you are like the most amazing woman that I've ever seen. Like online, you're just like a trailblazer. I just love your attitude. You've also encouraged me to be much stronger in my position when it comes to this as well.
Thank you.
I just wanted to say something because I just came to realize all this like a year ago. I didn't realize just how dangerous it had become and widespread and just gangrenous and completely insane. But one thing that I've noticed is that women as well have been falling victim, like actual women. I'm not talking about, women, have been falling victim to this kind of like, are you woman enough? Do you look female enough? A woman has to do this or that. And I really don't know how to approach it with like my friends and the people around me in a way that isn't too aggressive, because really there's no way. The only thing that unites us as women, like the common denominator, is that we're adult human females.
Yeah.
We can look any which way that we want. We don't have to subscribe to gender stereotypes, but I don't know how to explain that without sounding preachy or like coming on too strong and scaring them away and like ruining the vibe,
So I'm gonna ask some questions that might sound awkward, but I'm just gonna do it anyway, just to field out what you mean.
Okay.
Do you mean that
Yes.
some of your friends are now subjected to high maintenance level sort of femininity endorsing beauty regimes? Is that what you mean? That they're all like long tousled hair and high maintenance? Is that what you're talking about?
I think yes, and also because they are like very, very much indoctrinated by gender ideology, they see like you wear this type of clothes and you're masculine, like
Okay.
and you're trying to present as male or something like that. They don't see it as just clothing. It doesn't really have a gender.
Right. So they're trapped into the stupid idea that actually to be male or female, you have to subscribe to a certain set of criteria about the way you dress and the way, although I do think men and women behave differently, but if an
Right.
effeminate man is more of a woman than a masculine woman.
Exactly. So, and they behave that way too with people around them. Like, let's say we meet somebody out when we're going out and it's a woman who maybe isn't wearing makeup. They don't treat her very well. They treat her like she's not worth their time because she doesn't look like, like the way they expect a woman to look. So I don't know how to bring it up, and I do want to talk about gender ideology as well, but I just don't know. I don't know how to bring it up, like especially because they have children, and I'm worried for them.
I was wondering if they had kids. So you think that they will be That's the trouble, isn't it? If you subscribe to the idea that in order to be a woman you have to act and dress a certain way, in order to be a man you have to act and dress a certain way, when people fall outside of those sex stereotypes, you end up thinking that that bodies and behaviors are divorced from each other. And I personally don't. I think that I behave in a certain way because I'm female and I'm 5'1", and so I think my personality kind of fits my skin, if you like. So I think you just have to. You could do it by talking about feminism and feminists. And you could talk about, maybe you could get them all a copy of Sheila Jeffrey's The Beauty Myth. Have you read it?
I'm still getting through some of that feminist literature. I don't really know where to start, to be honest.
Well, look, I don't subscribe. This is my view on Sheila Jeffreys. Clearly, the way I dress, which is not masculine at all, I think my behavior is relatively sort of stereotypically not very feminine. Although it's certainly like many of the women that I knew when I was a little girl. So it certainly seems very female. But the way I feel about Sheila Jeffrey's work is I'm not going to read The Beauty Myth and come out the other side and think, right, I'm not going to dye my hair. I'm not going to have silly nails. I'm not going to wear an underwire bra. I'm not going to wear makeup anymore. And I'm not going to be appealing to men, because I quite actually like being appealing to men. However, I'm a much better informed person, that I understand that this regime that I go through is not a free choice. And it doesn't mean that I'm any more or less female than a woman that doesn't do it. So even if I'm not willing, because I think it's a brave thing for women to give up this sort of presentation. I don't mean like this. Not everybody wants to fry their hair every 5 weeks, but it's a brave thing to go makeupless and step out of being desirable to men in this society in which we live. But I think it's really, really important to know that there is a choice and where it comes from. So I would,
do
that.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you carry on. I interrupt people all the time.
No, well, I was just going to say that, I mean, I've just been coming to terms with the fact that, like, I might just lose my friends. They might not agree with me. They might feel like, as I speak more about feminist ideas, like the actual feminist ideas, where we put women's safety priorities first.
Yeah.
That I'm just not going to have any more friends, and I just have to deal with that. Especially once we start talking about gender ideology, I have to be comfortable with the fact that I might have outgrown them, and that's okay.
Well, look, I went to the pub in Cardiff on Saturday after our event, and in that pub there's women that 100% would never, ever, ever have been sat in a pub drinking and laughing together if it wasn't for this movement. A byproduct of this particular thing that certainly we do here at Standing for Women and Let Women Speak. A byproduct is a real community of women. And I'm sure, whereabouts in the US are you broadly?
Well, I'm in Canada.
You're in Canada. I do apologize. I didn't read the area code. Okay. There's definitely other women that think like you in Canada. And I don't know if your friends will just dump you just because you tell them that they're absolute idiots for subscribing to the idea that women are a certain way and men in a certain way. And how long have you been friends with these friends?
About 3 to 5 years.
Okay.
3 to 5 years.
They're not going to be surprised, are they?
I think I've made it, like, I think they know that I'm not 100% into it, just because, like, when they do talk about certain things, like RuPaul's Drag Race is really popular amongst them. I tend to be quite quiet, and I just don't engage because I don't like that show at all. So they probably get a sense that I might be more, I don't want to say conservative, but just not into that.
Yeah, it's fine. We don't have to put the C word in front of everything that means normal. These days. But it was lovely to talk to you, and best of luck. And we are here every week if you want to talk.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for everything you do.
You're very welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye. Hello, good evening. This is Tough Talk Tuesday. You've got through to Kellie-Jay. You can say who you are. You don't have to, but what would you like to say?
Hi, it's Leslie Farrington.
Hi, Leslie Farrington. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. The murders at the gay club, the other day, it's just brought out a lot of absolute sexism and woman hating, because we've got all these people now somehow blaming women for it. It doesn't even make sense, really,
Well, the man killing, it's because so many of us are TERFs that a man went out and decided to go to a gay club and kill mostly gay men.
Yeah. And Billy Bragg was making a big fuss about it today, but he's a total idiot, isn't he, really?
Or a cross-dresser. You never know, do you? Because he really is quite invested. That's just a guess, Billy Bragg, if you're watching, because I know you really do like to follow everything that I do, but that's just a guess.
I think I was replying to some of them on Twitter today, and I think I used the phrase "lower than a snake's belly" on a few occasions, and that I definitely used it to Billy Bragg and to Monty, Katie Montgomery. They're just
those are minutes you will never, ever, ever get back.
I know. It's quite fun, though, isn't it? Really, to just say that lower than a snake's belly.
I don't like to ever give them attention, because I know that is the kind of the fuel of everything that they do. But it's entirely up to you, Leslie. If it gives you a respite from feeling angry or annoyed, or then I think that those men are there to be used like that. Billy Bragg, he's clearly always been like this, and we just didn't know it.
I think I'd do it more to actually. You see some people responding, some women and things, and they're fairly mealy-mouthed about it, really.
Yeah.
And I just like putting things, in ordinary language and quite forcefully.
So well, you're a good northern woman.
Just wanting to, give people some plus, because, as you know, I'm not very well. That I've not got that much of an opportunity to get out and do other things, really, which I suppose I should time or something if I can't get out.
Yeah. Leslie, you're really breaking up, and so I'm struggling to hear you.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Right. I was saying that she's not well, so I can't get out, and probably my time would be better spent writing less, going on Twitter.
Oh, come on. If it gives you a little bit of a break, then you just carry on. We don't care about those horrid men. We're just worried about you. But yeah, well, I think
Can I just say something else?
Yes.
The first caller, she was saying about them being online gamers and stuff. Sorry. About 10 years ago, I didn't complete, but I was doing a PhD in sociology at Manchester. There was somebody else there doing it, and it was her. Something this is 10 years ago, and she was doing it on like gender roles and all this, but men being women and women. Well, they were mostly men those days anyway. Men, being women in the gaming community and everything. I think she's got really a point, because it's been going on for a long, long time. And I think the whole thing builds up like we just sit in a computer and pretend, you can be this and you can be that. And, I think it is a problem, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I don't see that it won't have an impact. I think when we were younger, the games sort of like Super Nintendo came out, Sega, and they didn't particularly have good graphics. So it wasn't like you ever felt that you were the character.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be the character. You might choose a character and play the character, but you wouldn't be the character. And it's very, very subtle differences, which is you can be the character and then you can see yourself through your character's eyes, or you can see yourself as if you're standing back. So I just
think,
go on.
Oh, sorry. Do you think some of the Black Panthers and all that kind of TRAs, I always, when I see them, I always think of like the shoot 'em up games, especially in America, you know, and you just wondered.
Well, that and porn.
Are they being influenced by like, well, whatever? I have no idea what these games are called.
I think it's porn.
Yeah,
I think GTA. I think GTA is where you can basically go and rent a prostitute and then kill her. So yeah, Grand Theft Auto. Oh yeah, that's quite that's something you've been able to do for a while. So you've got Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto is about, it's at least 10 years old. So I'm wondering, like, these kids might have played it for a long time and have just a very weird idea about women and also the anatomies of women. And, you know, you've got in Japan, you've got men who prefer 2D to real women, and they like hentai and just anime. And there's a hotel in Japan called the Divorce Hotel where men are so disgusted by women's bodies when they go away to get married that they come home and they divorce. I think it's called Divorce Airport or Honeymoon something. Anyway, but yeah, men are so repulsed by actual women's real bodies and smells and looks that they divorce soon after, and there's loads of them that proudly say that they prefer anime to women.
Are you better anyway?
I am. I had a really bad chest infection, and then I was a little bit exhausted, but I'm yeah.
Oh, that's good.
I hit the ground
running. I got told off because I thought, oh, you look tired. Make sure you get some sleep. No, she don't. You know, Americans sometimes, sorry people, but Americans sometimes don't get the way we speak to each other here, really. And she looks beautiful.
Well, I don't think that's true. I certainly did look dog tired. I felt like I put like a stone on in weight over the. It's so weird. I just got to America and my face just was really swollen for about good 2 weeks, and then I had a chest infection, and then I felt like I was eating concrete, and all I kept craving was a salad. And then when I went down to the bar to get a salad, some pervy bloke asked my room number. It was chaos. But yes, I'm home, and it's lovely to be back.
You take care of yourself.
Thank you so much. All right, cheers. Right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Band, my lovely band. Can we get? Oh, I probably don't. No, not that. Can we get rid of Benny Cood in the chat? I've tried to do it twice. No, and it keeps saying that I can't do it. Anyway, so this is TERF Talk Tuesday. I'm Kellie-Jay. I am trying to get through calls and I'm doing quite badly, so I do apologize for that. Good evening. This is TERF Talk Tuesday. This is Kellie-Jay. You are welcome to say who you are. You don't have to. What would you like to say?
Hello, it's A.G. Philbin. We met.
Hello. Were you in San Francisco?
Yes.
Hello. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good. Just wondering, do you have any thoughts on how you're going to break out of this, you know, the very small groups that I saw? I didn't see a group of more than, say, 25 people anywhere.
Yeah, we keep doing it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just.
I'll tell you what happened. I made a lot of mistakes on this tour, and I'll tell you many of them. Number one, I didn't have a PA. I didn't have a firm base, and so I was reliant on sort of Wi-Fi connectivity and just 5G and so on. And so what I was unable to do in between each place was really talk to people about coming to the next place. And so I think I would, if I did it again, which I intend to, maybe not quite the same places, I would give everybody at least 6 weeks ahead to get to an event. I would make sure that I was more settled somewhere, and then I would just pop out to events. So I don't think it was just how women were feeling. I think I didn't actually give the women that did want to come, I didn't give enough notice to at all. So that's completely my fault. But also, there will come a tipping point. You know, there's the next event I do in America, there'll be more women who wouldn't have come this time who are like, hang on, I'm coming. I'm absolutely, definitely not going to be cowed by these vile misogynists. And maybe the police will protect women, or maybe we just go full Texas on everybody and have serious security.
Yeah. One thing though is I think you can't rely on people flying from place to place.
No, I
to
can
do this stuff.
fly from place to place.
You can, but I can't.
No.
Most people can't. The other thing, I just wanted to know what's your general impression of America?
Oh God, it's so many places, isn't it? That's my general impression, that people are very different. Even I was sat in a Starbucks one morning with the lovely cameraman, and I just said, "It's oh, where were we? I want to say Philadelphia, or it might have been Chicago. No, it's Philadelphia, and that was certainly a less friendly place than maybe San Francisco. San Francisco is quite young and cool in the places that I went in. It certainly seems very, very woke. I loved Austin, Texas. I loved Loudoun County. I loved Washington, D.C. I really, really do love New York. In fact, I loved everywhere I went. But yeah, it's a funny place, the US, because it prides itself on this First Amendment. I don't see that you've got it if you can't be heard. What do you think?
Well, there was something that actually Mark Twain had made a remark about the First Amendment, or about freedom of speech, and basically that America is a place where everybody has the freedom of speech and the common sense not to use it. And it can be that way. The other thing though that I wanted to raise is, it seems that you seem to be stuck in a certain demographic. It seems to be very middle-aged people, including me, mostly women. And I'm just wondering, how do we break out of that?
Oh, I think we ask a lot of young people to break out of that, to be honest. I think young women in this society in which we live are encouraged. And actually, it might not even be society, right? But because we have a disconnect with families, and we live in nuclear or lesser families, and
a lot of lesser.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of respect for our elders, then women in particular do just become old and irrelevant. And there's nothing more a young woman will fear than herself as an older woman. And so trying to reach that is that's going to have to come from the incredible young women, some of which did speak at events like Chicago. There were a few incredible young women who spoke there. And so I really am hopeful, because I think we lay the groundwork as older people, as people who have lived upon this earth and know it a little better. We lay some of the groundwork so that these young people can actually stand upon the solid, firm ground that we have laid. So I think that's what we do.
Okay. How about getting some more men out there? Eventually, you're going to need them.
I'm not adverse to men. I quite like them a lot. And so I'm not averse to men at all joining in and being part of it. But the reason we're called Standing for Women, and the reason it's about let women speak, is women are the ones being silenced and cancelled and threatened.
Right. I understand that. That's not a problem for me.
Good. Well, then I think we'll be fine. Look, men, you came out. You didn't come out because you're like a crazy lunatic man. You came out because you're a man that cares about what's going on. You're not going to be the only one. And I don't think my rhetoric at all would put most decent men off. I just don't see it. So you're not put off. Are you extra special?
I don't know that if I'm extra special or not.
Well, I thank you very much for coming out, and it was really, really nice to meet you. But I definitely look. I agree with you. This is not a war that women can win on their own, but it is a war that women will lead.
Yeah, you might need a lot more men for security just for that purpose.
Well, I'm happy they can come with or without the guns. I don't care.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to come with guns if it ain't legal, but and it
All
ain't
right.
in San Francisco.
Well, thank you so very much. It was really lovely to hear from you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
And you have my respect and admiration.
All right, thank you so much. Cheers.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Okay, so I missed a couple of your calls then as I was ending that one. Here we go. Good evening. This is TERF Talk Tuesday. You are through to Kellie-Jay. You can say who you are. You don't have to. What would you like to say? Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
I wanted to ask you a question.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, I think you're amazing.
Well, thank you.
Please keep doing what you're doing. You are definitely going to go down in history as this 21st century suffragette. But what I wanted to ask you is that in this fight, I am having a really hard time because I've always been on the side of gay people and lesbians and liberals and just like I want everybody to live and be good, and everybody does, right?
Yeah.
But being called a bigot and being called closed-minded and having people tell you these things when you're like, wait a minute, like, how do you deal with that? Because I have a feeling that you're not coming from a conservative standpoint. And I know that in the United Kingdom and the United States, I mean, it's so much more extreme over in the United States than it is in the UK. So, and I was just wondering, is there any way that you can, in your mind, rationalize or at least tell yourself that you're not aligning yourself with xenophobic bigots? Because I know you don't have the QAnon thing over there, but it's pretty culty over here. I am in a red state, very culty. Mm-hmm. And when I start saying stuff like trans women aren't women, I'm put in that category.
I used to say to my children when they went to school, sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt you. And it's up to you whether you allow those things to silence you or not, because that is the purpose of them. They're not really thinking that you're QAnon. They don't really think that you're connected to the far right. They don't think any of those things at all, but they do want you to shut up. And that's why they say it. And so you either allow them to do that or you don't. And I don't listen to people that make up stories about me. I don't listen to those people at all. They are not going to control the agenda that I have for myself. I will not be dictated to by trans rights activists, by men on the right, by any of them. I do what I think is principally and morally the right thing to do. That's why I do it. So everybody can say what the hell they like about who I talk to and who I associate with or who stands next to me in a photograph. It doesn't bother me. And only if you allow it to bother you, does it bother you, because you don't have to allow it.
Well, I was thinking further down in the future because we have some pretty, well, I mean, you have your own nutters over there too, but
Are they worse than men? Are they worse than people advocating to slice the breast off of 13-year-old girls, these nutters?
Tucker Carlson has said some pretty dangerous things.
Is he slicing off the breasts of teenage girls? Do you think it's comparable?
No, but he's definitely calling for the death of people that are seeking amnesty legally in this country. And
is he though? What, you've heard him say that?
Yeah.
Right. Let's say that I don't. I'm just going to put it out there because I have met the man. I don't know that I've ever heard him say anything like that, and I've never seen any evidence that suggests he has. But let's say he has. Is he worse than the people that advocate for obliterating women's spaces, for slicing off the breasts of children, for sterilizing kids, and for eradicating the sexual function of children?
No, it's all completely horrifying.
Right. Then you don't want to be aligned with either. You don't know. So then don't. Just do what you think is right, because on either side of this divide, there are pretty terrible people. And I don't think that one lot of terrible people is any better than the other lot of terrible people, which is why I stand on my own 2 feet. Do you see?
Okay. Yeah. I was trying to see if I can get. Okay.
Go on.
Well, I was trying to see if I can get some good talking points, because, like you said, they're all equally terrible. But it seems that these subjects are linked, like especially in America, where it's like you're branded. Like if you think this way, then you must think this way about A, B, and C. And
but the only way that works is by a critical mass of people agreeing to adhere to these ridiculous kind of qualifiers. And the more people that say, actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to. Just because I don't align with those people, it doesn't mean I align with those. So the more of us that can just basically say, I'm not playing your game. I'm doing my thing, the better it will be. But every time we worry about being cast or put in a group with somebody else, every time you do that, you just add value and weight to the idea, the mechanism in which that you're then placed.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's really harsh and there's no magic answer, but just because I don't think we should, I don't know. Just because I think it
No, it's so hard. Like, I think in America, it has to be said in a different way, because we have all these extra things that the United Kingdom doesn't seem to have.
Yeah, but that's only because your culture has allowed it, because it's allowed just this infantilization of people. I mean, to be really harsh, a country as developed as yours, that has got such poor workers' rights and nobody gets a bloody holiday. I just think that is constantly what people have done in America, is you've just accepted kind of the feudalistic kind of society in which you live, where the workers work their backsides off and get precious little for it. And I just wonder if it's time to rise out of that.
Oh, it may be coming.
I think it may be coming. I think that the Jordan Peterson, you may hate him, I don't know, but Jordan Peterson,
I don't hate him.
Jordan Peterson says, and I totally agree with him, what does it look like when the left goes too far? And we've only got to look to America and Canada at the moment to say, well, it looks a little bit like that. And it's only because the left is going too far that the right will rise up, because the nefarious right would have had no power and no footing to stand upon if the left hadn't gone quite so mad. So
yeah,
you have to hold the middle ground, because if everyone around you is trying to push you one way or the other, it's up to you to start holding the middle ground so other people around you can do the same.
Well, ultimately, my goal is.
I'm so sorry. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Ultimately, the goal.
Yeah. Well, ultimately, I'm just so proud that you are a voice in this.
Thank you
rational,
so much.
calm, kind voice.
Well,
because the kindness is really what I'm really happy to see you being kind and firm, because it's exactly what I think everybody needs.
Yeah, I do too. And I think sometimes there is some sort of kindness is only delivered with absolute firmness. Thank you so very much for calling. It was lovely to hear from you. And where in the States-ish, you don't have to tell me exactly, are you?
Missouri.
You're in Missouri. Well, that's next on my next America trip, which I can't think will be more than 12 months away.
You would probably have a great reception here, to be honest.
Well, I'll come to Missouri then. It will certainly be an improvement on Philadelphia or Chicago or New York. But lovely to talk to you. Thank you for calling.
Okay, thank you.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Hello, good evening. You are through to TERF Talk Tuesday. This is Kellie-Jay. You can say who you are. You don't have to. What would you like to say?
Hi, Kellie-Jay. It's you've got TERF Mail calling.
Hi, you've got TERF Mail. How are you?
How are you? Oh, I'm very well. I hope you are very well as well.
I am very well. Very, very crazy trip of my lifetime. Well,
have you noticed it's relentless? You cannot catch a break.
No. Yeah, but look, this is my view. The more they throw at me, the better it looks for this side of the debate. So, and I'm a big girl. I can take it.
Yeah, I know. You're awesome. You're a shining beacon on the hill.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, tonight Diamante Beacon, actually.
I wanted to talk about some easy TERF advocacy for all the ladies and the gentlemen who are about to do some Christmas shopping.
Mm-hmm.
My idea is that you contact your local retailer. Do it early, early-ish, 9:30, 10-ish in the morning, so that the guys who are working at the store aren't run off their feet. And you ask them how they're doing very politely. And then you ask them if they have gift certificates. And when they say they do, you say, that's wonderful. I just have one more question. Do you have women's only changing rooms?
Oh, yes.
Oh, that's a good question, isn't it? Do they have women-only changing rooms?
I'm sorry, caller. We don't, actually. We've got really inclusive, gender-neutral spaces.
Right. And at that point, you say, oh, that's awful because I've got a niece and I was going to buy a $100 gift certificate and send her on down to the Bay. But if you can't provide her with a changing room where there won't be man, then I'm afraid I'm going to have to shop for another retailer.
Nice.
And boom, you've used your financial power. And you've let somebody in the retail industry know that it's a concern. You can do it from the safety of your own home, comfortably on the phone. You can be immobile. You can have a cold. You can be busy. I did it last week, Kellie-Jay, 3 times. It was a dream.
Really? What happened? Come on, tell us all.
Well, first of all, I called a gym. And the gym told me that they had a woman's space and a man's space and a space for gender people. And I said, that's awesome. And I'll leave that gym a review on Google that says, just to let the ladies know, there's spaces for women only in this gym.
Wow.
The next lady was not into it. She told me that they didn't discriminate. And I said, sorry, I want to make sure I understand you. Are you saying that it's discriminatory to provide sex-based spaces for girls and women? And she said, yes. And I said, really? Because I don't know if you know this, but sometimes men will go into changing rooms and masturbate. And she said, what? Oh, the shock. And I said, yes, it's true. And she said, well, that's never happened here. And I said, how would you know that?
Jesus.
And then the last guy I called, we're in Canada, and you have to affirm here. The last guy said, you could send your niece in and I would make sure that nothing happened to her. I don't agree with it.
Wow.
In hushed tones. So my point is, it's like super easy peeking. That middle lady, the one that thought that it was okay to have men in the room, now she has to think about it, right?
Yeah. And it's not rude. Interrupt. You're not having a go at anyone. You're just saying,
no,
I can't buy I can't buy a voucher then.
Well, and it's honest, right? I keep thinking about you guys have Primark over there. This is not a lie. This is an honest story that we're telling. I don't want men or boys in my changing rooms.
Yeah. Yeah, this is not fabricated for effect.
Yeah. I think I'm so excited about this method. I'm trying to spread it like Johnny Appleseed. I love that it works for women of all ages. You could be in a wheelchair. You could have a foot cast on. You could be in any kind of situation, but you can sit at home and use your phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's safe, free.
Well, I love this.
Yeah, that's my idea.
Well, thank you very much. It's a fine idea. And you've tried it in Canada. And by the next time we have TERF Talk Tuesday, maybe somebody will have done it in the UK.
Oh, I'm so excited about that because I put it on my Twitter, and some guys were saying, because I was saying to the men I know on Twitter, like, this is perfect for you. It's even better for you because you have the male power. And if you phone and say, I was going to get my wife a gift certificate, but I can't send my wife down there. Like, I know what goes on with men. Men, this is the easiest thing for you to do. Just stand up and use your financial power and get the conversation started, because retailers will respond to them. And always be super polite, because retail is really hard, and often it's going to be women who have no control taking the calls. They may even be a secret TERF.
Yeah. They may be fist pumping and you can't even see it.
Yeah. And when Christmas is over, I say, because then it's the weight loss season, I say start calling your local gyms and finding out, do they have a women's only changing room? And when they say women, do they mean women or do they mean men? Because when I called the local gym that's just for women, she was so confused. Kellie-Jay, she was like, I said, do you mean women or men who say they're women? And she said, I don't know what you're talking about. I said, oh, you don't know? Oh, there's a lot of men right now who say that they're women. Yeah, it's true. And she was so shocked.
It's so mad, isn't it? It's so mad how this seismic change in society and law and the way we're allowed to live has happened, and most people have no idea.
It is literally maddening, because it's a state of cognitive dissonance. We're not supposed to go out at night. We're not supposed to walk alone. We shouldn't park where there's not a light. When you get to your car, make sure there's no man hiding underneath it. Don't dress this way. Don't walk that way. Don't talk this way because of men, but also let men into any space you might be doing anything. Like,
so
what? How?
Yeah. And if he does do something, it is your fault.
Always.
Just
it's literally maddening. It's a new religion. I recognize this. I was raised Catholic. I know what's going on here. This is a new religion. We're at the start of a new religion, but we may be able to stop it and we may not, but I have no intention of going down without a fight.
Well, good. And I'll be there every step of the way with you. And I am coming to Canada. I will be there within 6 months.
So excited.
I don't know
you should hit Calgary, because then you can go to Banff the next day and have a beautiful day in Banff.
Well, that sounds amazing. I'll see you there.
You sure will. I'll give you a big smooch. Well, maybe not a smooch.
Lovely
I
to
might,
talk
though.
to you.
Thanks, Kellie-Jay.
You're very welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay, I've got to do super chats, but I can't. Hello, good evening and welcome. This is Kellie-Jay. You are through to TERF Talk Tuesday. You can say who you are. You don't have to. What would you like to say? It's you.
I can't believe I'm through, but I just want. Oh, sorry, I'm a bit nervous. Okay.
We'll wait. I can wait. You're absolute. Yes, I can hear you loud and clear, and you're fine.
Okay. I just want to say I've been a victim of this myself, where I've believed it's a mental illness. There's a fair amount of people who really believe a man saying he's a woman is a mental illness. It simply isn't. It's a lie and a fetish. Those men know what they're doing.
Yes.
They are sexually aroused by the thought of themselves as women, and those who think it's a mental illness are naive.
Why do
Children
you think?
lie all the time.
Yeah.
What makes you think a grown creep, won't? There are some children who are a victim of this. They are groomed. They truly are. I'm talking like maybe 12, 10 and under. But the teenagers who watch anime all the time and play video games like Life Chat are almost always creeps because of their own doing. Nobody groomed them. Maybe there is a few, but nobody groomed those teenagers. They did it to themselves. They tend to always be the outcast in school, the loner, and the nerd. They watch these sexualized drawings of little girls and want that love and affection they feel towards that same fictional character.
Now, when you say they do it to themselves, at what point do you think they've done it to themselves? Do you think they did it to themselves when they started? Do you think it was...
They're born weird. They're born weird. Like, for example, psychopaths, when they're young, they hurt animals. right? And
Yeah.
they grow up and start hurting people. Same with these guys. They're addicted to those kind of fantasies, and they just want to live as the girl they can never get. Those are the teenagers.
What do you think then? So let's imagine that we're 200 years ago. Do you think we're still creating the same sort of people? Do you think we lived in a society that was a little more harsh, so we wouldn't enable those people? Or do you think that perhaps modern society helps create the people that you're
Modern
describing?
society helps create this, because they kind of allow everything. Everything is freedom, and some things they aren't freedoms when they're stepping on other people's freedoms.
Well, I think I think there is merit to your idea. I do worry that we are saying that people are born in. I know that some people can be born with certain sort of personality traits, but I I just wonder if a long time ago, if I even go with your theory, I wonder if a long time ago those people would have had purpose outside of just going inward and inward and inward and inward with watching things online and being a loner. In years gone by, you wouldn't have been able to eat if you were a complete loner and never wanted to interact with anyone. You'd have had to get a job.
Yeah.
So do you think maybe those people still existed when they had to go and sort of be part of society? Or do you think we are creating this because they cannot be part of society and we enable them not to be?
Because they're on the internet, they're kind of allowed to be whoever they want to be. In real life, they cannot do that. They know it's weird. We all had that classmate in school. I had that classmate in school, a couple who were, weird. They just didn't get along with anyone. They particularly hated women because they couldn't get one or whatever. So what I'm saying is, it's the internet, it's the media that allows these people to live that way. Those teenagers are watching these animes of these little girls sexualized, and they want that for themselves because they love that so much that they want to wear it as a costume.
Well, I'm sure you've read Sheila Jeffries and the Transsexual Empire by can't remember her name, but Sheila Jeffries has probably got a lovely book for you. She's got a whole thing on fetish and how it works. But thank you so much for your call this evening.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. Well, I don't know how I feel about that. I think I do understand where she was coming from. Let me do some super chats. Do you take calls from landlines? Yes, I do. Caller withheld? Yes, I do. Spiky TERF. Good evening. This is Kellie-Jay. You are through to TERF Talk Tuesday. You can say who you are. You don't absolutely have to. What would you like to say?
Oh, hi there. My name's Sam. I'm a Wiltshire guy. How are you doing?
Hi, Sam, the Wiltshire guy. How are you?
I'm all right, thank you. Yeah.
Are you the one I bumped into when I was near my car? Just asking.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I do kind of live a bit further away from where you are, Leslie. I think I know
okay, fine. Just
won't
checking.
say. Yeah. No, I just was listening and, been following you for a little while. My partner and I are both avid GC people.
Good.
But, yeah, we're gay men near 40, and I think a few people have called in lately worried about maybe what gay people think.
Yeah.
And it's been an interesting journey for me, I would say. I certainly noticed some of the more kind of unusual ideology slipping into places you really thought it never would. Stonewall, etc., being prime obvious one, but Terence Hickens' Trust.
Yeah.
For me, I've noticed as well, has been quite unusual, and some of their choices have been very weird. So I think there are a lot of gay men waking up to the issue now and we're quite upset by it. And,
yeah.
We've been kind of protective as well, trying not to put our nose too far out. So
right.
It's been a bit unusual, and it's been very reassuring to watch you step in your high heels forward or flats.
Always flats.
And,
I'm far too. My
yeah.
feet are too small for high heels because they're only a size 3.
Well, there you go. But
So-
I just thought, well, maybe you had some questions for me that perhaps would be resonant with some of your previous callers.
Well, I'm
but
going to
also
just ask you about how it feels, because I know like Mr. Menno comes to Speaker's Corner. I know there are some groups now for gay men. I mean, obviously you've woken up a lot later than the lesbians, but it's all right. We won't hold that against you. But
well,
what
lazy
is
men,
what is waking up gay men? What do you think is the defining kind of the catalyst for peaking gay men?
I think mostly for working gay men, it is work,
Right.
and being in the workplace, feeling that we never felt necessarily that we were a protected minority, and we kind of carved our way out as we could, but found quite often with HR, until very recently, they weren't very good at combating or dealing with our issues, and then it seemed to flip way over our head. I mean, maybe other people have a different perspective.
Did you have 5 minutes of being heard?
What do you mean by that?
Well, you said that 1 minute they were sort of listening, but not really very well anyway, and then the next minute you've been piggybacked completely by trans rights.
Well, I don't want to sound like, I understand. I don't want to sound like I'm holding a grudge or anything in that respect. I think quite often, being a gay man, you can be slipped into an assumed feminine position in certain heteronormative, especially male workplaces.
Right.
I think in other areas, it's been unusual. I don't think necessarily we've been heard of in the way that we'd hoped, but I think that's not necessarily something that's concerned me too much. I've always just wanted to get on with it.
Yeah.
And I think that's the unusual thing, is seeing how much people seem to need to carve up territory. And that I think has been quite a focus. For an example, my partner works for a big tech company in California that works from home in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
But one day his boss decided, who's heterosexual, to come out to him as, he, him, and cis. And you kind of thought, well, this is this unusual dynamic that's now coming from quarters of people that feel like they want to own a queer identity.
Well, maybe they've got a blue fringe. You don't know. You have no idea if they don't dye their hair at the weekend.
You
Just
don't
saying.
know. I mean, one assumes. People are pretty bland, really, in IT. I think people like to assume they're all, purple haired and everything, but not necessarily.
Well, I'm just thinking that gives you a queer identity these days if you've just got a blue fringe. So.
We do joke about this. Maybe just go to work with your nails painted, and you might get a pay rise. But that's not something we would do.
Well, you'll certainly get a whole week off, a trans week of remembrance, awareness, solidarity, whatever it's called. But
don't. There's a week for everything nowadays. But there we go.
Well, there's a year for trans. So whatever you achieved with LGBT rights is nothing in comparison to the totalitarian.
Well, it's been severely undermined, hasn't it?
It's just disgusting.
We look at it and we worry about the backlash and what that means. And maybe it doesn't mean anything for us, but maybe it does, and we're quite concerned about that.
Well, it's attached. QT is now attached to LGB, and so it doesn't matter whether or not when the backlash comes that lesbian, gays, and bisexuals have stood apart from it, because that's not how. That's too neat for how a backlash will actually work. So I do think gay men, lesbian women, and bisexual men and women really do have to start speaking up and moving away. Otherwise, it's I think we will see just horrifying reversal of rights.
I do. I think we've been going around friend bases, mostly people we trust, and questioning things amongst each other, and it's becoming more relevant, especially our straight friends too, the ones that have sort of slipped into going along with things a little bit more easy. But, I do think some of these organizations, they seem to fight for rights in our country in a way that's excessive and ends up being destructive, obviously, when it comes to how it impacts children especially. But you then look abroad and think, well, hang on, were we ever looking for acceptance with gay people and lesbians internationally? Because you look at some of the countries around Europe and you think, well, they now have the perfect justification for never engaging with gay people.
It's so weird, isn't it? I was in a conversation where somebody said something. It was moderately homophobic. It wasn't a religious kind of objection. It was something else. And I was just like, that's just a really unacceptable thing to say. And he was saying it because he was grouping it in with gender ideology being taught to kids. And I was like, you really have to be mindful that you separate these letters, because he was not discriminating between L, G, B, Q, and T. And so I really do think those of us that do understand the very precise division between the Q and QT and the LGB, I think we have to speak on it often. Do you belong to the LGB Alliance?
Well, you know what? I've been talking to them. I haven't become a full-fledged member, but I nearly went to the first event they had. So I have been in chats and offering my ability to volunteer and things like that. I think it's a matter of organisation, and they've had things in the way.
Standing in a group of people who you do not have to fear, whatever it is that you want to say, like in a group of people, I promise you it's so wonderful, empowering and liberating, which sounds ridiculous for such a thing, but it really does make the world a difference. Maybe you should go.
Well, maybe, and also Gay Men's Network. I do chat to Dennis and a few others on that platform quite occasionally. So that's a good place to go and look as well if you're in our camp, so to speak. Although on a sideline, I was just thinking about today's news, the Balenciaga rubbish that's going out there. But I just linked two things together. Do you know Andy NGO?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, he's had a lot of heat, hasn't he, from one of the protesters that went to your New York thing.
Yeah, horrible man. Yeah,
got his fake, what's out, and the one with the perm, who's just got Italian heritage but a Mexican name. But he's been threatened by this person, who then, in this threat, actually said, "Well, I work for Balenciaga," which is an interesting a tangent. So I just thought I'd put it out there.
Wow. Such a shock that they would have such a vile, raging, nasty misogynist with putting bondage teddy bears onto kids. Yeah, it's gross.
And they're all the sort that are into the same weird sex and go to these weird mixed sex clubs where there are women who think they're a man. And you just think, how has this happened? There used to be spaces for men and spaces for women, and that worked quite well. And suddenly the lines are blurred. And thank God I'm not young enough to be involved in that scene. Or I suppose when you're in your early 20s, you come into touch with this and you keep an open mind and you stand your ground as to where your morals are, and you think, well, that's interesting, and you walk away from it if you do go out and enjoy that life.
You say I'm imagining you don't mean me. I am joking.
Well, you never know. I don't judge.
I've never been to clubs where there's lots and lots of people looking to get their kit off. Anyway,
you do live in Wiltshire, but there we go.
Yeah, this is true. It's been so lovely to talk to you. And anytime we got Speakers Corner come along if you fancy it.
I will do. I'll keep an eye on it. I was going to go to Cardiff, but we've had a few things. We're
come to London.
Traditional ourselves.
12 o'clock, Reformers Tree. Come along. It's probably going to be pig and freezing, but it'd be lovely to see you.
All right.
All right. Cheers.
Keep on the good fight.
Cheers. All right. Bye. Right. Can I just say to you, lovely people, I wasn't talking about Andy No being vile. I love Andy No. I've met him a couple of times for dinner. I really like the man. So I wasn't talking about him. Hello, good evening. This is Tough Talk Tuesday. This is Kellie-Jay. You can say who you are. You don't have to. What would you like to say?
Hello, I'm Kelly-Ann. I go by Stone the Crown, and I'm an Australian.
Hello, Stone the Crown. Hi, how are you, Kelly-Ann?
I am so fantastic. And can I just say, I'm also 5'1". So give it up for the 5'1" Kelly.
Well, we are magnificent. I'm a little bit rotund, 5'1" at the moment, but yeah, there is nothing that I can reach on a high shelf. What would you like to say, my love, from all the way? By the way, I am coming to Australia. I think it's going to be March.
I'm so excited. Can you please put Brisbane on your map, please?
Yes. Yes. I think
because us Queenslanders, we got some rockin' TERFs out here.
Well, let's do it then. I think
Let's do it.
Brisbane, Melbourne, Perth, Sydney. I think.
Sounds like a plan. I'm so excited. I am so excited. Can I just say, I remember you putting up the billboard. I've been sub for that long, and I just started my own channel about 10 months ago. So I just got to the stage where I could no longer curse quietly. I had to get loud. So that's my thing. I get loud.
Good. What do you think the response will be in Australia to some open meetings? Do you have good am I going to have to make sure that I've got funds for security?
I don't think so, but then having said that, we did have an issue just recently here where we tried to book out a private venue called Royal on the Park, and it's near our botanical gardens, and the TRA's got a smell of that, and they then rang that venue and had us cancelled a week out from our meeting. So we had some great speakers. We had an Olympian speaker, weightlifter. We had a doctor speaking. We had Karina speaking. We had Steph from Fairgo from Queensland Sports speaking. We had some amazing speakers, and we literally had to find a venue a week out from our meeting. So we had to have a private meeting, and we went to a council place, literally on the other side of Whoop Whoop in Brisbane to do that, and we've had to keep it quiet. We had a good turnout, but straight away, my photo with the Olympic weightlifter Deb was put over Twitter by the TRA, and they were rallying around to get people to call the council building and have us cancelled for any.
Well, we're not going to rely on any venue. We're going to stand in the street with big speakers and barriers.
I think we can do that.
Yeah, I'm not relying on any venues. I'm not giving anyone my money for them to cancel. And also, it will be like every Let Women Speak. No hierarchy, no order, no special preference. Just every single woman who wants to speak gets a chance to speak. That is how Let Women Speak works. And I think that is the absolute beauty of it, because there are I've said this before and I thought it was quite good, so I'll say it again. But no woman is more important just because you've heard her name before.
Thank you. Thank you. I heart that so much. And I think that's really important that we don't, if it's a long day and you're there all day, then so be it. If 100 women get to speak, then 100 women get to speak.
Absolutely.
I'll
just bring plenty of battery for my iPhone.
My megaphone will always have batteries in it, Kellie-Jay. Always.
Amazing. Well, I look forward to seeing you in the next few months then.
Absolutely. I can't wait. And you know what? I think I might even have to make a mission to stalk you around Australia. I think that might have to be done.
We'll do it. I'll give you the dates as soon as humanly possible. We'll have we'll have a short woman entourage.
We will. Because apparently Kelly means warrior. So
does it?
Bring forth the Kelly warriors, I say.
Well, that's bloody great. I will see you next year. Nice to talk to you.
I'm excited.
Cheers.
Thank you for talking to me, Kellie-Jay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, so I've got time for one more if you hurry up. So don't talk to me. Don't mention Australian spiders. Oh, don't. Oh. Worse than flying for me, spiders. Really hate spiders. Jag, look, if I've missed your super chat, I can't scroll up on this particular thing I'm doing, so I'm really, really sorry. I'm also going to go to Chester, Kelly Davies. Oh, another Kelly. Super chat, $6.99 Canadian dollars. Can't wait for you to come to Toronto. The best 3 letters, KJK. Good evening. This is Kellie-Jay. You are the last caller of the evening. Welcome to TERF Talk Tuesday. You can say who you are. You don't have to. What would you like to say?
Hi. My name's Claire. I'm from Australia.
Hi.
How are you?
Yes, I'm very good. Good morning.
Oh, amazing to get through so quickly. I'm just ringing up to show my support from Australia and that we're very keen to have you. I'd really definitely recommend coming in late summer to autumn because it's extremely hot. And if you found America hot, you'll find Australia quite hot, very humid, especially Brisbane.
Oh, that's bad for my hair. Humid. Oh.
Brisbane is extremely humid. You can't sort of imagine.
I'll have to wear a hat. I got a really nice hat in New York. Perhaps I'll just have to wear a nice cap. So when is that? Is that March?
Even Brisbane is very hot in March. So I'd probably start lower down, maybe Melbourne and Canberra first, because they get cool quite quickly. There's a lot going on in Melbourne. That's an absolute definite place to go. They have self-ID in Melbourne now.
Crazy.
And it was coming to Queensland. I'm not quite sure if they got it through because there was quite a fight in Queensland. So I think at this point, self-ID is only in Victoria.
Right.
Victoria was the state that had the worst lockdowns during COVID. They're quite full on.
They go hand in hand, these things, don't they?
They seem to. Yes.
Compliance.
So definitely start lower. Start at maybe Victoria. Canberra, the capital, would be worth going to. I think drawing attention where the politicians live.
Yeah.
I'll be going to Canberra soon, and hopefully we'll order some of your stickers and get them.
Well, I'm hoping to talk to one of you lovely women, and I was doing it just before America, to actually do the shop down there. So because I know the post is A, takes too long, and B, is too expensive, and it just puts such a massive kind of bill on top. That is one of the things I'm trying to organise, which I it can't be that difficult. People have businesses all over the world, so you know, there's a deal to be made on allowing sort of stickers and everything to be printed. But I'm so excited. I really pig and hate spiders more than anything in the world.
It's not too bad. I think Australia gets a reputation for having lots of dangerous stuff, but I've never been bitten by one of the nasty ones. So.
Well, you say that. So we had a decorator, and they opened my window, and I've got this creeper, beautiful plant thing that grows across my house, and then it's green, and then it's bright red for about 3 weeks, and then all the leaves drop off, and it's quite stunning. It just is so beautiful. And he got bitten by a false widow.
Oh.
And his whole arm swelled up. I'm just really glad I wasn't here to see it, because I would have. I mean, I just can't tell you. So maybe I'll just have to hire some beautiful man to come along and take spiders away, because that would just. I think I would die.
Yeah. You just got to watch out for the redbacks and the funnel webs, but. Yeah, funnel web is the really dangerous one. But you don't. I live in Newcastle, which is 2 hours north of Sydney, and they're here, but you never see them. I don't know why. Redbacks are more common, but they're not as deadly.
Oh, okay. Really looking forward to coming to Australia.
Yeah. Well,
I'm going to bring my documentary. Hopefully, I'm going to bring my documentary maker with me, because I think we might just have a chance in these countries, in New Zealand, Australia, Canada, America, this country, and then and hopefully Europe, like just do everywhere, to show people what is going on. And I think if you had something that was maybe just Australia or just Australia and New Zealand, I think it has a real chance of letting people know what's going on in a way that maybe nothing else will.
Our media here is very silent, apart from Sky News. So when I've spoken to friends, they've actually just gaslit me and said, no, that's not happening. So
exactly.
That's crazy business. So there's a lot of people that don't have a clue. I'm trying to pique a lot of people at the moment, and it's hard though because they think you're sort of being mean to people.
Well, let's change this so that somewhere there is a documented version of the truth, unlike the propagandized lies that are being spread in Australia. And I just think we can do it. I think it's
I do too.
Not even can, but must.
We will, Lynn. And I would recommend contacting some media like Sky News they're more open to.
Yeah, I'll pop in. I'll go and see Kath Deves. Perhaps I'll join her.
Kath Deves. And have you heard of the channel TERF Talk Down Under?
I have. We can pop in.
Angie Jones. Her partner's having a break from it at the moment, her friend. But yeah, Angie Jones.
Well, they haven't invited me on, but I could just turn up, maybe.
Yeah. Well, they'd be good to be in contact with for Victoria.
Okay.
Victoria.
All right. Well, I've got my amazing woman, Jane Austen, who runs. It's not a real name. You'll be surprised to know. But she runs Locals, and she's in touch with quite a lot of women. So if you're looking, if you're involved with Standing for Women Australia, or if you're not, if you get in touch with Jane, because we are now beginning to talk to women in Australia about how this tour is going to work.
Okay, Jane Austen.
Yeah, and it's local at standingforwomen.com.
Local, okay. I'll be coming to Sydney. If you go there, I'll talk there.
Well, I'll see you then.
Yeah, I'd probably recommend Brisbane's definitely, Sydney, Canberra being the capital, and Melbourne. I'm not sure how many places you're going to go to. But.
Well, it depends. Yeah, it depends how far away they are from each other, because I could probably go nuts for about 2.5, 3 weeks. I don't think I could stay away from my family longer, and they won't be coming with me because it's too hard. It's too hard to work and have my kids around and my husband, because it's just too hard.
Yeah, I don't know how you're doing it.
Well, I didn't do it very well. That's how I did it. But it's really lovely to talk to you, and I will see you next year.
Great, thank you.
You're very welcome.
See you then, Kelly.
Cheers. Bye. Oh, isn't that lovely? Isn't that lovely? Yeah, get your merch soon for Christmas orders. Absolutely, ladies. I've been making stuff today. Honestly, I can't tell you how amazing so many of the things are. And I'm updating my website because it's just horrendous. But if you persevere with the store, you'll find what you're looking for. Now, listen, if we accept that we are constituency of women, I'm going to try and scroll through actually before I do this, but I can't find the super chats, and I feel so terrible. I did put some of them up when people were talking, but I can't scroll up past like 9:30. So I'm really sorry. If you contributed to a super chat, I will look through them, and I would definitely thank you tomorrow. But thank you very much. Thank you to all of you who called this evening. It's an absolute joy. Thank you to my wonderful moderators, Band United and Rebecca L. They are always here and wonderful and glorious. So I'm going to say to each and every one of you, put your differences aside, for God's sake. We are a constituency of women. There is no left. There is no right. There is no up, down. There is no different religion or race or anything that can possibly divide us, because what unites us is that we are women. That's what unites us. So, TERF Talk Tuesday will be this time next week. You're going to have to call a bit quicker, because, that's what we need. I definitely want to do something near the parliaments in both Australia and New Zealand and Canada. Anyway, if we can be a constituency of women above all else, then I promise we will win. If we have the courage to take our own path on this and not switch to other people when they tell us that we're left or we're right or we're adjacent or aligned, if you really, really can live by the mantra, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me, I promise we will win. And do you know why else we're going to win? Because I never lose